Kobe Bryant is one of the greatest players of all time. He won 5 championships in his career, he was an MVP, he is thought to be one of the greatest two-way players of all time, one of the most skilled offensive players of all time, and the second best shooting guard of all time. At least that's what I thought people thought of him. But lately it seems like the NBA community and NBA fans have completely changed their mind on Kobe. Once thought to be a top 5 player of all time, he's suddenly hardly in the top 10, if in the top 10 at all. So this video will be in defense of Kobe Bryant's legacy, and if you would like to talk Kobe's legacy or just NBA basketball in general, there's no better place to do it than the Hardwood Amino app. Hardwood Amino is one of the fastest growing NBA communities with nearly 100,000 members and counting. With this app, you can go into chat rooms to talk NBA. Here, users of the app are talking about LeBron opting out of his contract, a bunch of wild things are about to go down in free agency. You can answer NBA-related polls, read NBA articles, do NBA quizzes, and more. In this quiz I'm taking here, it's a fairly easy one. I'm guessing players by their childhood photos. Most of these are pretty easy, but the Chris Paul one does stump me here. If you would like to download this app, the link will be pinned in the comment section and it will be in the description. Okay, so before I proceed, for the sake of transparency, I will let it be known that Kobe Bryant is my favorite player of all time. I do feel like that should be out there, but I would like to think that I am pretty damn good at looking at a player objectively and removing myself from bias. Generally speaking, I actually tend to be more critical of players that I am a fan of than players that I am not. Like, for example, Russell Westbrook is one of my favorite players in the league, but I recently made a video on him that is very critical of him and his game. So with that being said, let's get into why I think Kobe is getting way too much disrespect lately.
Listen, Kobe could never be considered the greatest player ever because Kobe's a worse version of a player we've seen. He's just a slightly worse version of Michael Jordan. Period, point blank. Like, the reason LeBron can be considered the greatest player ever is we've never quite seen someone like LeBron. LeBron isn't trying to be Jordan like Kobe was. LeBron is more Magic, but he's not trying to be Magic. Magic didn't score or defend at near the level LeBron did. But Kobe, you can say this is Kobe's example of on a job interview. You know, what's your biggest weakness? I'm too hard of a worker, I suppose. But it's totally disingenuous, and it's historically inaccurate.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is number 1.
Okay.
Michael Jordan is number 2.
He just can't stand to give Michael.
That shocked me.
LeBron is number 3. Okay. Wilt Chamberlain is number 4.
Wilt Chamberlain?
Magic Johnson, number 5. I got Bill Russell, number 6. Larry Bird, number 7. Tim Duncan, number 8. I got old Kobe falling in there. You know what? Oh, I didn't go all the way to 10. My bad. He got to go down.
Who's 9?
The big O.
Big O? So you got the big O above Kobe. So Kobe is 10th on your list.
So let me start off with Nick Wright's clip and move on to Shannon Sharp's top 10 players of all time list.
Listen, Kobe could never be considered the greatest player ever because Kobe's a worse version of a player we've seen. He's just a slightly worse version of Michael Jordan. Period, point blank. Like, the reason LeBron can be considered the greatest player ever is we've never quite seen someone like LeBron.
Okay, 1, don't say he's just a slightly worse version of MJ as if that is a bad thing. Being a little short of the greatest player ever is a hell of an accomplishment. And 2, and let me preface this by saying that I don't think Kobe is better than LeBron or Jordan. I'm mostly just saying that to avoid a war zone in the comment section, but I'm sure with just what this video is on alone will make that unavoidable. Nick's statement that LeBron is better than Kobe because he is more unique is ridiculous. The idea that uniqueness has anything to do with how good a player is absurd. I think most people would agree that Lonzo Ball is a more unique player than Jason Tatum. Really, the only comparison for Lonzo is Jason Kidd, who was a very unique player in his own right. Whereas Tatum has been compared to the likes of Paul George, Carmelo Anthony, Tracy McGrady, Paul Pierce, he's not a particularly unique player, but better than the player that is considered unique, Lonzo Ball. Uniqueness does not equal greatness. The idea that Kobe cannot be the GOAT, which again I don't think he is, because his game was a copy of Jordan's or because he was not an original player, that idea is ridiculous.
Wilt Chamberlain is number 4.
Wilt Chamberlain?
I got Bill Russell, number 6. Larry Bird, number 7. Tim Duncan, number 8.
Who's 9?
Oh, the big O.
Okay, if you've watched this video by me, you would know that I hate when people say that the 80s and 90s were weak eras. They were not. But the 60s and mostly the 70s were pretty damn weak eras. You could call it hypocritical to defend one era's strength and call the other weak, but it's just not that simple. See, the NBA was established in the late 40s, and it really wasn't popular until the 80s. The league wasn't seen as stable as the NFL and MLB. So the NBA didn't have a lot of athletes that from a young age dedicated themselves to the game. There certainly weren't as many as there are now. The league just simply wasn't nearly as talented as it was in the 80s to present. I'm saying all that because Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, and Oscar Robertson should not be ranked over Kobe Bryant. You cannot tell me that this play is as impressive or more impressive than this. That a player from this era is better than a player from this one. They are just simply not equal. And I would also personally take Kobe over Larry Bird, but I'd understand if you disagree with me on that. But as for Tim Duncan, I definitely think Kobe is better than Duncan, though I am aware that Duncan had many seasons where he made personal sacrifices to his stats for the sake of winning. That does not make up for Duncan playing in 46 more games in his career, but scoring 7,147 less points. And the rest of the stats Duncan has over Kobe is more a positional thing than a talent thing. Duncan has more rebounds and blocks, but Kobe has more assists and steals. So I'd personally take Kobe over Tim Duncan. Now I've made it pretty clear how I feel about Nick Wright and the rest of the NBA's mainstream media, so it's pretty clear that I don't respect the opinions of the guys that I just showed all that much. What really sucks is when someone that I do respect underrates or disrespects Kobe. I spend a lot of time on Twitter, and I would say that it's a waste of time, but I really do get a lot of my video ideas from going onto that site. So I would say that it's worth it. And recently I saw a post from someone that I really do respect. Coach Nick of B-Ball Breakdown, who tweeted, "Kobe isn't even the best shooting guard in Lakers history." And he went on to say that Jerry West is the best shooting guard in Lakers history. Now, one, Jerry West was listed as a point guard for all but 2 years of his career, and two, well, I've already made my point about 60s and 70s players. They're just simply not as good as players from Kobe's era. And even without that, when you compare Jerry's stats to Kobe, West are slightly better. However, from an achievement standpoint, West went 1 for 8 in his 9 finals appearances, only won 1 finals MVP, and it was in a series that he lost, whereas Kobe went 5 for 7 and won 2 finals MVPs and a regular season MVP. And you could say that Kobe had Shaq. Well, West had Wilt Chamberlain, and before Wilt he had Elgin Baylor and Gail Goodrich, who were all top players in the league in his era. So why has Kobe caught so much disrespect lately? Well, a lot of it is Kobe has a hell of an ego, and he seems pretty damn happy to put his opinions and ideas about greatness, and specifically his opinions about LeBron, out there, post-retirement. Which is what Nick Wright was responding to in his dumb little rant about Kobe. So Kobe is really setting himself up to get the disrespect that he's getting, but that doesn't make it warranted. It also feels like ever since the day that he retired, people have just forgotten how good Kobe was, and just been disrespecting him. And recently it's gotten a lot worse than it ever was. And I think that that really is recency bias. I also think that it has a lot to do with this endless GOAT debate. Everyone has been hyping up LeBron so much lately, trying to put him on a high pedestal, that people have just thrown Kobe out of the damn window. It went from Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron to who the hell is Kobe? LeBron and Jordan are the only two players to ever play basketball. People also have a tendency to way over-exaggerate, especially in the NBA community. Instead of saying what I would say, which is something along the lines of LeBron is better than Kobe, but Kobe is still a legend and one of the best players ever. Instead, when LeBron passed Kobe, which I believe was in 2016 when he beat the 73-win Warriors after being down 3-1, I think that that series pushed him past Kobe, but when LeBron did pass him, people have said things along the lines of Kobe is trash, Kobe was overrated, he's not even top 10 of all time, he's not that great, he got carried by Shaq, blah blah blah. This really applies to something that I hate in the NBA community in general, which is to gas up one player's legacy. Fans in the NBA community think that you must first tear down the legacy of another player. In order to say that LeBron is the GOAT, you have to say that Jordan played against milkmen and plumbers. In order to say that LeBron has passed Kobe, you have to say that Kobe isn't even a top 10 player of all time, which he without a doubt is. There are not 10 players in NBA history that are better than Kobe Bryant. And if you want any more evidence of this, like I said, I believe LeBron is better than Kobe, as a Kobe fan. But it should be said that a majority of NBA players think Kobe is better than LeBron. Michael Jordan, Allen Iverson, Carmelo Anthony, Paul Pierce, Reggie Miller, Russell Westbrook, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, T-Mac, D. Wade, and Chris Paul have all said that Kobe is the better player. I don't agree with those guys on that, but it does show that Kobe is thought of incredibly highly by these star NBA players, and he 100% is a top 10 player of all time. He also belongs in the same conversation as Jordan and LeBron. To say that Kobe isn't as good as Jordan and LeBron is fine, but to say that he isn't in the same conversation as them is disrespect. To say that they don't sit at the same lunch table is disrespect. So in conclusion, at least to me, he's the 5th best player of all time, and he is definitely in the top 10. He needs to stop being disrespected. I have never seen a player get mistreated or hated on more in recent NBA history than Kobe. As soon as he retired, people just started treating him like crap. Man is a legend, and it's time that we start once again treating him like that. That's the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.